So hello, we are going to do some 3D drawing. We're going to warm up, actually we're going to draw pyramids and prisms today. We're going to be doing some more 3D work in the next couple lessons, but this is what we're doing for today. So we're just going to practice drawing because it's a skill, and what we want to do is make squishy polygons. That's our first step. So if you've ever noticed when you draw a cube, right, this is hopefully going to look better as we go, but when you draw a cube, if you the front looks like a square, but if you look at the top and bottom, they kind of end up looking like parallelograms. So that's just the perspective that happens there. So what we're going to need to do before we can draw pyramids and prisms is we want to make sure that we know how to do all our squishy polygons. So when you do triangles, you're just going to kind of make them fatter and wider, like so. And like I said, rectangles will turn into parallelograms. And pentagons, a nice way to do that is to start kind of like the triangle and just kind of go back in a little bit and then like so. And hexagons are really easy. You just do a top and a bottom and then you kind of arrow on either side. And let's see what else we can do. Octagon, like again, you're making them longer side to side and skinnier top to bottom. So there's our four sides, and then we want to connect those up. Make yourself a nice octagon. And then circles actually become what we call ellipses, so they're just kind of squishy like that. So there's your squishy polygons. Now they do make templates for this, and if we were in class in person we would be using the template to help us out, but we're going to learn it freehand because we don't have that resource necessarily. If you want to run out and get one, more power to you. Alright, so once you know how to do the squishy shapes, it's very easy to make a pyramid. Alright, so if you start with your squishy shape for the bottom, for instance, we'll make an octagonal pyramid here. So we'll start with an octagon. All right. And to make a pyramid out of this, real simply, we just put a dot above, and then we connect up the vertices. That's a little shaky, sorry. Connect up the vertices to that dot. Voila, we have a pyramid. Now these ones in the back, notice that if we were really doing 3D drawing, those would be like dotted because they're not really showing, okay? And actually these things right here too, you can kind of dot those other lines that would normally not be showing, so they'd be more like this kind of look, okay? So that's it. That's how you make a pyramid. So you draw your base shape, and then you draw a dot above, and you just connect up the vertices. Now if you want to make a prism would be, you start with your base shape. Let me try that again. Start with your base shape. We'll do a hexagonal prism here. So there's a base shape. And then what you do is you make another one that's exactly the same above it. And then again, connect up the vertices that go together. So in this case, I'm going to do the front ones, okay? And then the back ones would actually come down. They kind of be just about where those other ones are. So, and then again, we can dot these little bits here. Those would be more like a dotted line versus a solid line. Okay, so that's a pyramid and that's a prism. All right, and this is the way we name these would be, I'll talk about that in just a minute. So the other thing that we can do, these are straight up and down, which we call right in mathematics. Right meaning like a right angle, okay, 90 degrees, which means they're perpendicular to the ground. Okay. The other thing we can do is we can make them crooked or slanty, or what we call in mathematics oblique. Okay, so if I wanted to change this and make oblique shapes, let's try a triangular pyramid. So we start with a squishy triangle, and then you put your dot, instead of putting it straight up from the base here, we put it over to the side somewhere. Okay, and then you can connect up that dot to your vertices. Okay. And again, you can kind of dot those back lines there. Okay, so that's oblique. And then let's do one more. We'll do maybe a rectangle base. And again, you want to make it exactly congruent to this, but again, over to the side somewhere. So you want to make two of the same shape and then just kind of push them over as close as we can get here. All right, so there's that one, this one. That didn't turn out great, but too much like a, let's try that one more time. I'm going to put them less slanted from each other. I think they would turn out looking better. So we'll put them just a little bit off here. All right, let's see if that works better. There we go. Now we can kind of see everybody here. All right, and again, ones that are behind can be dotted. Okay, so then what you see here is you've got all these different examples, and they actually have 3 pieces to the name. So this here, you first name it whether it's right or oblique. So this would be a right. Then we name it according to its base. This one has an octagon. So this would be a right octagonal, and then is it a pyramid or is it a prism? So this one is a pyramid. All right. This one again is right, it's straight up and down. And this has a hexagonal base, so hexagonal. And this is a prism. Again, prism is shape over shape, pyramid is shape to dot. All right. Here we've got an oblique, triangular, that's its base, pyramid, and then this would be an oblique, rectangular. And I say rectangular, if you're aiming for a square, you could name it square. So oblique, rectangular, and this is a prism. Okay. So one more side note, we did do, over here we did the circles. Now you can name those, if you did something like this, you know, and you put it here, you could name that an oblique circular pyramid, or you could name it an oblique, those have the special names, an oblique cone. Okay. And then you've also got the option of doing the circular prism, also known as a cylinder. So this would be a right cylinder. Okay. So on your packet page, it asks you to practice a few of these. You've got 3 listed there. I would challenge you to do a right version of all of those 3, and then an oblique version of all of those 3, and then send a photo of that to the Dropbox for the class. And we'll see you next time.